Hey nerds, welcome to episode 75 of the Nerd Rundown podcast. This week on the big show, Darren and I get the chills from the new Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Hugh Jackman looks like he might be returning to our favorite adamantium-plated badass in Deadpool 3. Is it Cheetle or Cheeto for Armor Wars' big move to the big screen? Thank the good Lord we're getting more Jack Ryan and Planet of the Apes, but not together. How good are you at sharing your nerddom? This week's Nerd Box has us asking that very question. Ready? Hit it!
Hey nerds, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm Darren Stemple, and you all know my co-pilot, Eric Hare.
Greetings, fellow nerds.
So fancy. You can find us on our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all at the Nerd Rundown. While you're there, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave a comment. We had a really big week on comments. I actually had some new people commenting. Really appreciate that.
Very exciting.
Love interacting. Very exciting. Love interacting with you all. Let's continue to do that because it's fun.
Please.
And it helps the show out, most of all. So
Yep.
you can also listen to us on all the major podcast services. And if you do, you can still take a moment out of your time to get on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and then leave a comment. Leave a nerd box question.
Yerp.
Very excited for today's rundown, Eric. Right off the bat, let's get started with the only trailer of the week. Oh man, I've got a lot of emotion.
Kind of the only trailer for the week, but the only official trailer.
yeah.
Which we should talk about at some point. It's not on the agenda, but we should talk about it. So,
well, there was a few different kind of things that happened in the past week.
Yeah.
But the biggest one really came today.
Yeah.
The Black Panther Wakanda Forever official trailer released. I still have chills from watching this.
OMG. Like,
tell us what you thought. I can't wait to share my feelings on
it. I woke up this morning and the kids, usually the kids, they're eating breakfast. I get up, I brush my teeth. I usually will hang out with them for about 10 or 15 minutes before we have to leave. And usually they're watching something on YouTube. And so Jackson is thumbing through the thumbnails and I'm like, wait a minute. And
go back.
I'm like, go back. I said, up, over, and I'm like, I was like, oh, it's a Wakanda Forever trailer. And I think like right below it shows it like 25 minutes old or something like that. I'm like, oh my God, it just dropped. And so I started doing it and they were too dang loud. The kids are too loud, they're too loud. So
of course
I said, fine. So I paused it and I could not wait to get home. I could not wait to get home from dropping them off at school. So I could
like boot them out of the car.
Yeah, I'm like, just get out of the car. I'm like, just tuck and roll, kids. Just tuck and roll,
No hugs today. Go.
So anyhow, it was fantastic. It looks really spectacular. There's some stuff I did not expect. The Namor stuff is really, really interesting to me. That we got a lot more of Namor than I thought we were going to get. And they're setting him up, at least in the trailer, to be a much bigger villain than I perhaps thought, or this is going to be a much bigger war than perhaps I thought. So, and Angela Bassett, God bless that woman. She is just amazing.
Ageless.
She just is, ageless and just immensely talented. Like I could literally watch her just do anything, and I would be like, oh. So we got our first good look, which kind of confirms what I had thought I saw in the original trailer, just based on some sizes and stuff like that. I was kind of thinking we got our first look at Black Panther. So I want to hear
At least the new suit.
the new Black Panther, and it clearly looks different to me. I don't know about you, but yeah, what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on it?
Oh man, I still have chills from this trailer, and I can't wait to watch it on my big screen. I haven't yet because I remember watching the first one on my phone and being like, "Yeah, it was good," and then watching it on my big screen with my surround sound and being like, maybe the greatest trailer I've ever seen.
Right.
You want to talk about, first of all, there's a look to this movie that is unlike anything we've seen in the MCU. And
I thought the first thing, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but to go at that really quickly, same thing. The first thing I thought to myself was, man, Ryan Coogler makes a beautiful, and it was like the scene of I don't know, it was like a box, or I can't remember exactly what it was, the first scene, but I was like, yeah, this is amazing,
gorgeous.
Anyhow, go ahead. Sorry.
Gorgeous. Yeah. I mean, and there's going to be two aspects to that, the what, scenery in Wakanda, and then the underwater stuff.
Yeah.
Which, coming on the backs of Aquaman, they're going to have to differentiate how they do things.
Yep.
They've already differentiated the name of Atlantis. They're not calling it Atlantis. In fact, they're calling it, I knew I was going to forget this. It's called Talakan, and it's giving Namor more of a Aztecian background, which Tenoch Huerta as Namor, I didn't know how this was going to, translate, changing the backstory of Namor. But man, this dude looks amazing, and he's got the feather wings on his ankles to show how he can fly and swim fast. Looks incredible, and I agree. They are setting him up to be a bigger villain than I expected, but I also don't think he's going to be the end villain. I
agree. Yep.
I think he'll end up teaming up with Wakanda, and
I have a feeling they're being pitted against each other by a third party.
Yeah. There's definitely it's got to be like a misunderstanding, and that will.
I thought you were going to go
the initial fuse.
I thought you were going to do one of these, that. It's a misunderstanding. I thought you were going to run the route that way, and you ran the route that way, and now we're all going to war. So,
I'm not good with my sports analogies like you are. But another aspect to this trailer was the music. I'm not a big rap fan, but somehow Ryan Coogler mixes in every trailer great music, and some of it's rap music, and it's just it has me going throughout the whole trailer, and I'm head bobbing for you audio.
Yeah.
I was actually dancing. You guys missed it. Might as well tune into YouTube to see it. So there's a lot of different things, but the last piece of the new Black Panther falling down, what a beautiful suit. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That thing looks sharp as hell. I do think so. My theory is that I for sure think that's Shuri. And I don't think Shuri will be Black Panther for long. Not that she dies, but I think somebody by the end of the movie, there will either be multiple Black Panthers or somebody else. I don't think she'll be the lone standing Black Panther by the end of it. And I think if I had to pick anybody, it'd be M'Baku.
I was going to say, can I just say how much I talked about Angela Bassett, but I have a huge man crush on Winston Duke.
Dude, he's so awesome.
He is just,
I love him.
Awesome. He's totally awesome. He's
so humble in his interviews.
I don't think I've seen, but just his performances, everything that I've ever seen him in, he's always just been tremendous. He's just been a tremendous actor. He was on a show. He was on that Person of Interest show. I remember he did he was in that. And just every time I've ever seen him in anything, it's always just been he just is so good. So he had this recurring role that he did on there, and he was so good. So
he's got a presence about him, and he's got a little bit of scenery in this trailer too. So it's good to see that. I mean, this movie is, I think it's just going to knock our socks off. It's coming out 11/11, my favorite number. So it has to be good.
Yeah, not far from now. It's a
Not
month,
far
a
from
little
now.
over a month.
Yeah, we're a little over a month. So it
Which
will
is
close out phase 4.
Which is interesting that we're just now getting like a full trailer only a month out. I feel like we had the trailer for Thor.
I bet they just don't want to show anything.
I think so
the
too.
Thor one came late too, though.
Did it?
Most of them come like 6 months in advance.
Yeah,
and we got our first at Comic-Con. It was less than 6 months too. Well, maybe they're starting to tighten things up. Maybe they just don't want to show anything. I don't need to see anything more from this movie in order for me to be there day one.
Yeah,
and I'm not the biggest fan of the first Black Panther.
Yeah,
I liked it. I liked it. I think I could say I liked it a lot.
Right.
I think the first 2/3 were fantastic. I do think that it fell apart a little bit in the final battle, but the last couple scenes were amazing, and the first 2/3 of the movie were great. So
yeah,
this just, you know, we have to mention the passing of Chadwick Boseman every time we talk about this movie, and how that hangs over this movie. And I think this is going to sound really bad, and I don't mean it to come off that way, but I really think the passing of Chadwick Boseman is going to everybody elevated their performance in honor of Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, sure.
And I wonder if we would have gotten the same movie if he didn't pass. And I don't mean that to come off.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. You know, when you have an actor, a performer, even an athlete who is a certain talent level like Chadwick,
top notch.
I think there's a certain element of people that they either raise their game to be at the same level of performance as that particular person, or they allow the other person to lead and just kind of fall in line or whatever. And so maybe you're right. Maybe you're right that that's how it would be, but I don't know. Like I think if you look back at Black Panther, the first movie, it follows very closely our discussion point that we've had on multiple other pictures, which is if your villain is really great, and Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger in that
he's a top-notch Marvel villain for sure.
So to have him and Chadwick Boseman go head to head, their performance was stellar. And so with this one here, it's going to be hard, to not have him in the picture. But I think you're probably right. I think the rest of the cast in his stead are going to put together a great performance. And I think it's an opportunity for specifically for Winston Duke and for, some of the other actors and actresses to really get their moment to shine too. Because even in the trailer, like right from the get-go, they don't shy away from the fact that T'Challa is gone, So I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. I'm not sure what they're going to, how that sequence plays out, but I think
even why he passed, that we don't know what they're going to say about that.
Right. So I think all in all, I agree with you. I don't need to see anything more from this. I'm in. I'll be there. If I can't be there opening night, I'll be there as soon as I possibly can. But this is one that I really do want to see right away. I want to see this one on the big screen. I think it looks really, really tremendous.
The Talcon, I don't know what the Talconians, I don't know what you call them, Talconers. They look badass in this movie. The way they swim, the way they move, and they look like a force to be reckoned with. And that line of he's coming for the surface world.
Yeah.
That gave me chills because Namor he's a top 10 badass.
Yeah.
For Earth, that not necessarily for the cosmic level, but for who's on planet Earth.
Right.
You were gonna, do a draft. He would be in the top 10 of your draft. He is a badass, and he's a dick, first of all. And I'm sure that necessarily won't be the main driving factor of Tenoch Huerta's Namor.
Right.
But you can see in that one scene when he gets into Angela Bassett's face, he's got a presence about himself too that don't mess with this with this half fish.
So I know we've talked about this trailer and maybe other trailers, and I kind of hinted at it just a little bit, but can we talk about? We got a bootleg trailer this week. So, if you're so inclined, if your Google foo is pretty good or your Twitter stuff is pretty good, you can do a search for the Ant-Man Quantumania bootleg trailer. Like somebody snuck something out of D23, and it's not great quality, but holy smokes, dude! You talk about getting chills.
Yeah,
I literally got chills listening to
Jonathan
Majors go through that little
I know
offering.
Have I killed you before? Yeah.
Holy smokes! Just
I was gonna include this, and then I was like, man, I didn't want to take anything away from Black Panther, but you're right. This doesn't deserve to be mentioned, because we have gotten nothing but like words about Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania.
Right.
I almost said Waspamania.
Waspamania.
I can't wait for this movie because Paul Rudd first, Jonathan Majors second, and King, and how it sets up the rest of the MCU. Because again, Black Panther Wakanda Forever closes out Phase 4. The first movie in Phase 5 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. So these two movies definitely are connected at the hip. And that bootleg trailer, we're not going to link it. Go find it. It should be easy for you to find.
Yeah.
I can see why the buzz about that movie is as good as it is, just from a bootleg trailer.
Yeah.
Holy cow! I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, it looks.
That's February, I think.
February. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Looks. I can't wait for. I don't think I've ever said this in my entire life, but I can't wait for February. So.
I hate February. That is my least favorite month.
Least favorite month. So.
You know what did come out in February though? At one point in time, was Deadpool 1. Which was a massive success.
Yeah.
It spawned a sequel, Deadpool 2. Ryan Reynolds was pretty popular before, but Deadpool really rocketed that guy into the atmosphere of nerdom. And in the past week, we got a
trailer. Another trailer.
I guess you could call it a trailer or trailers.
That's what they called it. On the
series.
Deadpool 3 trailer.
Deadpool 3 trailer. They did call it that.
Total clickbait. I just like total clickbait.
So this is something we haven't gotten anything about at D23.
Right.
Nothing at Comic-Con in July. And so a lot of fans, huge following of Deadpool, wondering how he's going to get integrated into the MCU. Mm-hmm. Well, in these trailers, it is revealed that it is the return of Hugh Jackman. As Logan, as Wolverine. We thought we'd never get to see Hugh Jackman again as Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I who knows what is going to be his role in this movie. You never know if this is even real, knowing how sarcastic Ryan Reynolds can be, but it seems pretty official that in Deadpool 3 we're going to get return of Hugh Jackman's Logan.
As Logan, yeah.
Jackman's Wolverine. What do you think?
Well, I thought it was really clever how they did it. They had Ryan Reynolds just sitting on the couch talking about Deadpool and coming up with ideas for the things, and really I got nothing. And then just casually in the background, Hugh Jackman walks by and he goes, "Hey Hugh, yeah, Ryan, you want to play Wolverine again in Deadpool 3?" "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then
it's like they're at a dinner party and Ryan Reynolds went off to record this, and then
right.
Jackman's like walking by for whatever reason.
Like Hugh Jackman's just like at his house all the time,
Yeah,
that's so funny. But I loved the very next day they post another one that's like a follow up to it, and they're like, "We know you have lots of questions, and like this is what it's gonna be," and the first question that came out was like, "Look, and before they did anything else, they did answer the whole Logan thing, because of when Logan takes place, is when the movie Logan takes place is
well, that plays
several
in
years
2029. Yeah.
several years into the future. This will fit snugly before that time, so that timeline stays intact. He's still dead. You know? And all that. So I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, you're not gonna ruin the death of Wolverine, I guess.
Well,
man, this is big news, because look, in the last year we've gotten Tobey Maguire, we've gotten Patrick Stewart returning from their roles from the early 2000s, and then what you could probably consider the top three big superhero roles of the early 2000s are Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier. You saw him in Multiverse of Madness, and now Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
I mean, and Hugh Jackman,
big time year for Kevin Feige's early days as a producer. So on movies, I could not care less. No, I'm joking. I'm excited. I'm excited to see.
Everybody knows what a giant Wolverine fan you are, and especially Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
I mean, especially. I appreciate Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, as a reimagining of Wolverine. He's done a great job. I don't, it's not his decisions to make everything about Wolverine. But it's because of him. Because he's so good in the role. I got to give him that.
Yeah.
And Logan was so freaking good. Logan is one of the all-time comic book movies. What a movie that was. And speaking of movies, now we get word that something else that we did get at D23 was word of the Armor Wars Disney Plus series starring Don Cheadle in his.
Did you say Don Cheadle?
That is how you pronounce it, Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle with an L? Cheadle. It sounds like you're saying.
No, it's like a
Cheeto.
Like a Cheeto chip. Yeah. That's how you pronounce it, is really? Don Cheadle. Yeah. You know who will prove us right is Meg. Get on it, Meg. I know you're
Meg, you're probably yelling at Don Cheeto, because I thought you said Cheeto, and I was like,
I googled it. She's gonna comment. I googled this, and
I know she already got on me. She got on my case in the comments about how I pronounce Gal Gadot.
Oh yeah, I have refrained from correcting you.
She says that the way
I pretty much gave up on correcting you on any of the names that you pronounce.
The Gadot, because I'm not at this point. I told her I'm like committed to it, just to irritate her more than anything.
Don't change.
It's Gadot.
Good. So Don Cheadle is going to now transition his Armor Wars Disney Plus series into a movie. Kind of big news, because that changes the story of Armor Wars. Armor Wars is actually a really big comic run. It's an Iron Man comic run, one of his big time Iron Man stories, where his tech gets stolen, and it gets like sent out to a bunch of different people, and he's like, screw it, you guys are gonna take my armor, I'm gonna build something better. And so he ends up obviously always winning and getting his armor back, but in the process got better armor. Really great run, really great Iron Man run. So that's being transitioned into Don Cheadle's armor War Machine. But that means the story's probably going to be cut down and more concise. Is this a good thing, or is this a bad thing?
I have questions on this. Like, these are kind of deeper questions, and I don't know that you'll even be able to answer them, because they're more okay. Well, they're not technical
Challenge
questions. They're not technical questions about the character or the thing.
Okay.
What does this say about the success of Disney Plus series right now, and perhaps maybe looking at this and going, hey, we need to retool this because we can actually make this into a franchise ourselves. Don Cheadle's Armor Wars. We can have a roadie we can turn him into a franchise guy himself, because it's not like Don Cheadle doesn't have the acting chops to
Nope. For sure he
to
does.
do the job. So my thought process on this one is that they want a bigger budget for this, shrinking the storyline down perhaps, or saying, hey, maybe this is a 2-picture thing that we can slip in, or a 3-picture thing that we can slip in. We can tell more of this story just over a longer period of time with a bigger budget. So that's kind of my thinking, is maybe the Disney Plus show stuff is not going the way they kind of hoped that it would go. And perhaps they're kind of reclaiming some of that stuff. And they're like, hey, box offices are doing just fine. We might be able to make more money off of this going that route. We can pour more money into it budget wise, because again, some of the properties that we've seen, even in, let's just be honest, Thor was not a hit.
Both Multiverse
of Madness was not a hit. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Wakanda Forever is going to be the saving grace for them this year, and everything. And then Quantumania is going to be really good, I think, next year. But
hopefully,
there's some concern. I think they're retooling things to kind of get to that point where they need another blockbuster movie franchise kind of in this. So I'm hoping, that's my thought on this.
Hoping it's a good thing.
Yep.
Well, what I hope it's not, because I've heard that's a great theory, and I think that's more of what it is. But the other theory that I've seen out there is that they want an Iron Man character for the big screen, right, and they're not confident in Ironheart, which is Riri Williams debuts in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. She's actually in the trailer a couple times. So
right.
I really hope that's not the case, because I would like to see that character grow into something like Miss Marvel. I wasn't a fan of in the comics, but I liked her TV show. I want to like her TV show.
Yeah.
Of course, I want everything MCU to succeed. So I hope that's more the case. And dude, Don Cheadle deserves his own movie by now. He's been the side character in Iron Man. Well, there was Terrence Howard first, and then it was Don Cheadle in Iron Man 2 and 3.
Right.
He was in Age of Ultron. He had a small part in that. He was in Civil War, and then Infinity War Endgame, a small part in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So he's going to be in Secret Invasion.
Right.
So he deserves his own vehicle. Now, like get the man his own vehicle, and if it's the big screen, that means they for sure are going to take it serious. Well, I guess
you just get a bigger budget. You get a bigger budget.
Just get a more serious tone. That's what I really need. Thor, I've always enjoyed the humor in MCU, but Thor: Love and Thunder really killed that for me, and it made it like, even there was some parts in Multiverse Madness too where I was like, it's gotten too silly.
Yeah,
too much humor.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think you need to be somewhere between, Batman versus Superman, where there's zero humor, and Love and Thunder.
That's quite the spectrum.
Let's just, can we be somewhere in the middle of those two? Like I felt like I felt like Ragnarok was a good.
Oh, that's a good.
Was a good compromise. It still maybe was on the extra silly side, but just come back from that edge just a smidge, and I think you're in good shape. I honestly, probably the James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy is the perfect blend of humor and serious stuff. So
this the Captain America movies are funnier than they get credit for.
Oh, very much. So.
There were some funny parts basically anything the Russos directed. There was really good humor.
Yeah. Well, in the Age of Ultron one too, the beginning of scene with that one where he's language, and that's
that's Joss Whedon, and he had a different kind of humor for sure.
Right.
For his stuff.
I'm not. I'll just to finish off the Armor War stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at this at all.
I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad at all.
It's not that I didn't want to see
6 hours.
It's not that I don't want to see that. I just want to see a bigger budget and War Machine on the big screen. Like
They
I
do
want to
say
see.
that those Disney Plus series have a 150 to 200 million budget, which is about what the movies have.
Yeah.
So it's not like they have less of a or a whole lot less of a budget. It's just there's more content.
It's just spread out over more stuff. So yeah, but it just feels like the special effects are not quite there.
Yeah.
You know, the spectacle isn't quite there, which
Right.
you don't have to substitute that for story. Like,
No.
and I think
No.
that's been the thing
Hopefully
that
not at all.
MCU has always been able to do is tell a good story, tell good characters, also have good special effects. You know,
Yeah, make it look good.
So stick with your characters, stick with your story. You know, good special effects.
How long, Eric? How you may, if you're like me, you may have been waiting for this news for what feels like 30 years.
Yeah.
Next on the rundown, it has been so long. In fact, I'm trying to think of when season 2 was. But next on the rundown, we got unfortunately no trailer, but we did get an announcement last week from Amazon Prime that John Krasinski's Jack Ryan is set to return in his incredibly ripping, well-made, well-told, well-ran TV show Jack Ryan. Cannot wait for season 3. It sounds like this is going to be a banger of a season. I cannot wait to get some actual footage of it. Get to see Michael Pena join the cast as is it
Domingo Ding?
Domingo Ding, a pretty popular Rainbow Six character in the Tom Clancy series. How long have you been waiting for this news that we finally get season 3? And they are currently filming season 4, so I don't think we'll have to wait much longer for season 4, which is rumored to be the last.
Yeah, no, I am thrilled at this, to be honest. Like this made me happy. Like I got a couple of things this week that got me happy. I think they released the trailer. You know, the other trailer that we missed, I think that we maybe could talk about next time, but we did get a full trailer for Yellowstone.
I couldn't remember if we put that on last week's episode or not.
Pretty sure we did.
I was thinking about that tonight.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And then I just remembered it just now because we got a trailer and a premiere date for that, and then we also got the premiere date for Jack Ryan. And I was thinking to myself, this week is glorious for news, like just glorious, like with stuff to look forward to. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. And then they on the cherry on top of it, they gave us a Black Panther trailer. So I was like, man, this is so great.
Yeah.
But so far, this series has been tremendous. My wife loves this series. I love this series.
Nana too.
There isn't anybody that I know that's watched it that's been like, it's okay. You know, I'm like, it's just been great. So I am super excited for season 3. It feels like it's been a long time since season 2 came out, and I think it has been. I think it premiered in 2020. I
think it was 2019, and then 2020 was season 2, and then we haven't gotten anything. We didn't get anything in 2021.
Right. Yeah. So I think I have to say I'm a little curious on the Michael Pena as Ding. That feels like a weird casting to me. Like just because Ding is like a badass sniper and a special operations operator. Like the dude moves with an MP5 like nothing else. Like I mean the dude is just a badass operator in the books, and in previous iterations of the character he's been portrayed, and I can't think of the name of the guy. I can see his face, but the guy who played him in Clear and Present Danger did a really fantastic job of playing him as a real badass, because I
know, what is his name?
He is the dude that you send to do stuff. He and John Clark are very, very close, and at a point in time in the future, they actually end up kind of being family to each other. So, so John Clark and Ding are very, very close to each other. So that's my only hesitation on this. Not that I don't like Michael Pena. I love the dude. But I'm a little concerned about that casting. So we'll see. I will go into it with an open mind and kind of see how we do.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's my only thoughts. But yeah, December's
Very
gonna be
excited.
awesome, man. Because
Dude,
we got
so many good
December
ones.
21st on that, and then Knives Out streams, I think, on December 25th. You know, so it's like
Christmas.
it's gonna be Christmas come early, baby.
Merry Christmas, Eric. Well, you know, another. I mean, this really it was a really cool week. Like, it wasn't some of the normal stuff that comes out. Like, we do a bunch of trailers or whatever. It was just really cool announcements, like
Yeah.
you said. And the next thing came out of nowhere too, out of left field. We got concept art or actual image. I don't remember.
It's concept art. Yeah.
It's concept art of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes,
Yeah.
the fourth movie in this series, which nobody knew was happening.
I thought this series was dead.
I thought they were ending it with the third one, but
Right.
man, this concept art, and Eric, please put it up on the screen.
Yeah, I'll throw it up there. Yep.
For everybody to see. Holy cow. It's the Planet of the Apes style movie I've been waiting for since the very first one.
Yeah.
This way post-apocalyptic, like moss on the buildings kind of apocalypse. And there's Caesar riding his horse like the boss he is. So
yeah.
What do you think?
Well, and I'm wondering if this is where we kind of go back to this sets up the
Charlton Heston.
The Charlton Heston Planet of the Apes type
which they
thing.
teased in the very first one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I think I have to say this series has blown me away. Every single movie is better than the one before. I feel like, you know, I don't know that my expectations were low because
right.
you know, the
maybe for
I
the
actually
first one.
enjoyed. I know it's crazy. I actually enjoyed the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes movie. It wasn't great, but I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Oh, you're in a small minority on that one.
I know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a fun action movie, and I thought it was well shot. I didn't hate it, but man, the Planet of the Apes movies up to this point, this series, each one is getting better. Each one has gotten better than the one before, and each one has surprised me because I kept expecting to be let down, and they haven't. They've taken the property seriously. I think it's probably because of it's probably because of the motion capture stuff that they've done has just been just terrific.
Oof.
Versus the costume stuff from earlier stuff.
Even the Mark Wahlberg stuff.
Yeah, that would be, I think, the biggest weakness in that particular series. But you know, to have Andy Serkis, just I guess he's kind of the godfather of motion capture. With his Gollum character from the Lord of the Rings stuff. So, I mean, he really is kind of the godfather of all that stuff. And so for him kind of coaching and being a director almost in his own right of kind of showing the other people how to perform, it's just been terrific. So this news came out of left field for me this week, and I couldn't have been more pleased. Like I said, this week really surprised me with some news and some stuff that kind of came out. It was not a week that I expected anything to happen, and frankly, nothing really did happen up until today. It was just news, but a lot of it I was like, awesome, awesome, even better, and so yeah, I've been this one was another one where I was like, sweet man, I can't wait to watch this one.
If we ever do, you know, a sequel to our trilogy episode we did last year, which I think that was maybe just Morgan and I don't even the first sure he missed, but we did a like best trilogies.
Mm.
And I don't remember putting Planet of the Apes in there. And I think it was maybe at the end. I do feel like Morgan and I were like, man, could have had Planet of the Apes in there. So this really is a trilogy that every movie is a banger. You're going to be entertained by every movie. And that first one, the way it teases Charlton Heston's talking about the space shuttle that's either is blasting off, or they got news that it was getting lost or something.
Right.
And then the way it ends with the setup for the for the pandemic that kills the world.
Yeah.
Really kind of poetic in a way.
Well, and it was really interesting. Each film, while connected, has a different tone and a different theme that runs through it, and each one gets darker and more. You feel like each time you watch it, you think, okay, this is just a bad set of circumstances, and then the second one, you're like, if you guys make better decisions, like we could probably get out of this, and then the third one is just like everybody's making really bad choices. Yes,
yeah.
Everyone's just making bad choices.
It's the end of the world, really. It's the end of
this
the world.
is how you lose the planet, So,
I mean, as good as each movie getting better, but that trilogy doesn't work with the James Franco, the first one with James Franco working so freaking well, and having seeing the origin story of Caesar. Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And Matt Reeves directed all three of those. Now he's Warner Brothers golden director with directing the Batman, and
rightfully so.
There's a few directors out there right now that just I'll watch anything that they make immediately. James Mangold, who's now doing Indiana Jones, who did the Logan movie. Matt Reeves, for sure, anything he puts out.
Yeah.
James Gunn. The Russo brothers.
Yeah.
I like this new younger group of directors right now. If we ever get back to doing some director episodes, we should focus in on maybe doing a grouping of directors. Yeah.
Right.
Last on the rundown, interesting tidbit of rumor news that came out in the past week. So rest in peace, William Hurt. He played Thunderbolt Ross in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's a pretty important character to some upcoming storylines, and maybe some that are developing now, and continuing some of the old ones as well. So there's a big rumor in the nerdum out there right now, where it's Marvel Studios has contacted and casted Harrison Ford as the new Thunderbolt Ross. So they're recasting William Hurt with Harrison Ford. I don't believe it's true. I don't think you do either, Eric.
Yeah,
but it does leave us.
Yeah.
It does leave us with a big question as to they do need to recast William Hurt's Thunderbolt Ross.
Right.
And so if they do, who do they do it? Whom do they cast?
Yeah, I have heard anecdotally, just in some other rumor stuff, that
big time insider Eric Hare.
Yeah. My contact DJ told me that he heard from somebody else.
He's DC playing.
Yeah. Anyhow, I had heard that he had already been offered and rejected by Harrison Ford. So, which doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, the guy's already a kind of a cranky old guy. So getting him to hop into a motion capture suit at some point to play something, I just don't foresee it. I really don't. And frankly, it doesn't disappoint me at all. I think, I don't even see him really as a Thunderbolt Ross. He doesn't strike me. William Hurt did a great job of making that role his own. I think in the past we'd seen Sam Elliott in the character. Again, a pretty
Very
spot
good
on,
casting at the
yeah,
time. Yeah.
pretty spot on casting. The character, we had a debate about this kind of earlier before we recorded the show, just about the character's history. And so, do we alter the character's history to bring in a younger actor, or do we cast somebody similar in age um, to William Hurt, just as to maybe redo it? And I think we threw around a couple of names and stuff like that we thought would be kind of cool in that particular role, and I think I'd said something like um obviously we're not going to get it, but it would be so cool to have like Bruce Willis like be in that role,
Yeah.
to have him in there, or Gary Oldman. I thought would be another one. Gary Oldman's, I think, too much of an actor to do
Yeah.
that. But what was the other one? Kevin Costner. I think we talked
Yeah.
about maybe Kevin Costner. Who else did we kick around? Billy Bob.
Billy Bob.
But then we kind of I think we kind of said maybe
No to that.
not for that
Because that
role.
would be, I need him in a different role forever. I don't know what it is yet. But
Yeah.
there's a role out there for Billy Bob in the MCU because
Yeah, I think he'd be pretty good doing something, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of actors that are in there, because if you really go by the age of the character, he's going to be in like his 80s. So, and William Hurt was 71 when he passed away. So I think you could young up the character a little bit and put him in the 60s, maybe, mid 60s.
I mean, as long as it like makes it seem like when he was Secretary of State, he was like in his early 60s, and maybe he was looked old as a 60-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't want them to like reimagine him as like a man in his 40s,
Yeah. And I don't think that would be the case. I was thinking somebody maybe in their 50s, somebody that can still move around, a little bit. And because you get into your 60s, and it's definitely harder for guys to move. It's just it's harder for older people to move around, except for what's his name, Tom Cruise, that guy.
I think Tom Cruise is still 29.
I think so. I think you're probably right. I don't know.
There's Scientology God gave him immortal.
Yeah, right. Well, it's the souls of aliens trapped in the mountain or something like that, or
right.
Xenu, whatever.
Yeah.
Gives them, I don't know. There's
some options out there. Let us know who you would want to see in that role. What do you think? Maybe he has a long lost son that you can bring in if they want to find a way to do a 30, 40-year-old Thunderbolt Ross, good old Junior, even though I don't think he had a son in comics, or even his daughter is Liv Tyler. So
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe she had a lot.
Right.
Anyway. That's the rundown. Very fun rundown. I was very excited to talk about a lot of these things tonight with Eric. We want to know what you thought of the Black Panther trailer. Who's going to be the new Black Panther? Deadpool 3, Return of Hugh Jackman. Armor Wars is now a movie. Jack Ryan season 3 release date. Cannot wait for that trailer. Hopefully get it this week. Maybe they were planning on doing it today, and then they're like, we're not going up against Wakanda.
Right, yeah.
Because I am going to watch Wakanda Forever's trailer like 37 more times.
Yeah, full show.
Very excited for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And then who do you think is best for Thunderbolt Ross? Let's get to the nerd box. Really cool question from one of our favorites, Bryant Castile. He writes in, have you ever successfully convinced a non-nerd or a nerd of a different nerdum to try a show, comic, game, etc., that you were obviously very passionate about? And how did you convince them? He did not give us an answer that he has done that, but I am almost certain Brian's probably convinced some nerd or non-nerd to watch something. I would venture to guess he's he's gotten his wife to watch a few different things. I know she watched Loki with him, so
Yeah.
uh, I think that counts. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think as far as an example from my side, I have two.
Okay.
One very close to home is I was able to convince my wife to watch the Game of Thrones series, and now she's hooked on that.
Yeah.
Um, the way she described it, the first season was porno with a plot of the
Sure.
original Game of Thrones series. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so
Sounds awesome.
she was big into Game of Thrones, and we've been watching House of the Dragon together, just about every night. So every night it comes out. So we've been watching that. So I definitely have been able to to get her. Although she does listen to me a little bit more than other people. I think the other big one that I'm still working on you, but I think the other one that I've been able to get people into, because it's not as big of a commit as my eternal project of making everyone watch Star Trek, but um, but the Firefly and Serenity series,
Mm.
the Firefly from Fox, and then the Serenity movie that followed up several years after the series was canceled too soon. So I think it's a 14 episode TV series, and then you get one movie, and it is awesome. Like, it is so good. And you think to yourself, man, some of the stuff that lasted a lot longer on Fox doesn't have the same legs, doesn't have the same fandom
Right.
as the brown coats
For sure.
and all that. So I think those are the two, Star Trek and Firefly, I think, are probably the two biggest ones. How about yourself?
Well, one great answers, and good luck on your eternal project.
Thank you.
You're gonna need
Strange New Worlds, man. Start with there. You'll love
it. I like the Chris Prim Star Trek movies. You
Yeah.
won. You did it. You did your job.
Yeah.
The one that bounces to the front of my head first is Meg. And that's because Lost is such a big part of my life that I convinced a lot of people to watch Lost.
Yep.
But I remember when Meg was going through it, she was going through it watching Lost. And
Yeah.
I was her spiritual guide. And you could even include my parents in on that one, and even Banana. And speaking of it, Banana, in 2014, Netflix released a TV show called Daredevil, which starred Charlie Cox in the Matt Murdock Daredevil role. I showed her the trailer, and she said, "I will never watch that." And I remember watching Daredevil. I watched the whole first season by myself, and I was like, "Okay, this is going to get bigger. There's going to be more of these." You know, they announced that it was going to be a series of characters, blah blah blah. And I'm not patting myself on the back here, but I made a compromise, Eric, in my marriage, so that I could selfishly watch all the Netflix Marvel stuff. I really got into the Bachelor franchise for a while.
Yeah.
Bachelor in Paradise,
God,
The Bachelorette.
You really are a good husband. Yeah. I refuse to watch like Big Brother. Like, my wife loves Big Brother, but I'm not gonna do it.
I got into it too, dude. I was reading articles the next day, recaps of the show and getting into theories and Bachelor in Paradise was peak reality TV. There was some really great drama from that. But
The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, it's just like people throwing their bodies at each other, and I'm like, I just can't do it.
It's so dumb. But I remember Banana she would watch it on Mondays when it was on, and that would be my video game night. And I remember being downstairs playing video games and just hearing her laugh her tail off. And I just come upstairs and I'd be like, "What are you laughing at?" She goes, "This is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life." And I knew I knew if I made that marital contract, she would watch all the Netflix Marvel stuff. And she made it almost all the way to Defenders. She stopped in the Defenders, rightfully so. It wasn't very good.
Yeah.
They come back for Daredevil season 3, Punisher 2, but man, that was a strong 2 years of Bachelor watching.
That's
things you do for love.
I tell you, man. Things you do for love of the MCU. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And now I cannot wait for more Charlie Cox. That was a great nerd box question. Let us know when you. I'm sure as a nerd, we're all nerd in our own ways, and we nerd out about certain things that maybe other people don't. You want people to get into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You probably have tried to convince somebody to be a nerd of some topic that you like. So
yeah.
Let us know your answer to that question. Eric, you have something. You have a little something for.
Well, you know how I like. I'm a bit of a history buff, and we have talked about in the past. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I just said you're just a little bit of a
history buff. So, but we have talked in the past about our love for Ridley Scott's movie Black Hawk Down. And so today is October 3rd. As we record this, it's October 3rd. And so next year, this is the 19th anniversary, or sorry, the 35th anniversary, 34th anniversary.
1993. 30.
So,
yep, 30.
Yeah,
30 years.
Almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years next year. So, 29 years.
Oh yeah.
Since this happened. So the battle took place on October 3rd and 4th, 1993. We have talked about repeatedly how we love that movie. Like, it just is an incredibly shot movie. The cast is phenomenal. Everything about it is just absolutely terrific. But I wanted to read the Medal of Honor citation for both Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart, who were killed during action on that. And so they both actually, for the most part, have the same one. So I'm just going to read Gary Gordon's, but I thought it would be kind of fitting, as we like to talk about movies and stuff like that. This is clearly based on real life, and they do a good job, I think, of depicting it in the picture too. So, but Master Sergeant Gordon, United States Army, distinguished himself by actions above and beyond the call of duty on 3 October 1993, while serving as a sniper team leader, United States Army Special Operations Command with Task Force Ranger in Mogadishu, Somalia. Master Sergeant Gordon's sniper team provided precision fires from the lead helicopter during an assault and at 2 helicopter crash sites, while subjected to intense automatic weapons and rocket-propelled grenade fires. When Master Sergeant Gordon learned that ground forces were not immediately available to secure the second crash site, he and another sniper unhesitatingly volunteered to be inserted to protect the 4 critically wounded personnel, despite being well aware of the growing number of enemy personnel closing in on the site. After his third request to be inserted, Master Sergeant Gordon received permission to perform his volunteer mission. When debris and enemy ground fire at the site caused them to abort the first attempt, Master Sergeant Gordon was inserted 100 meters south of the crash site. Equipped with only his sniper rifle and a pistol, Master Sergeant Gordon and his fellow sniper, Randy Shugart, while under intense small arms fire from the enemy, fought their way through a dense maze of shanties and shacks to reach the critically injured crew members. Master Sergeant Gordon immediately pulled the pilot and the other crew members from the aircraft, establishing a perimeter which placed him and his fellow sniper in the most vulnerable position. Master Sergeant Gordon used his long-range rifle and sidearm to kill an undetermined number of attackers until he depleted his ammunition. Master Sergeant Gordon then went back to the wreckage, recovering some of the crew's weapons and ammunition. Despite the fact that he was critically low on ammunition, he provided some of it to the dazed pilot and then radioed for help. Master Sergeant Gordon continued to travel the perimeter, protecting the downed crew. After his team member was fatally wounded and his own rifle ammunition exhausted, Master Sergeant Gordon returned to the wreckage, recovering a rifle with the last 5 rounds of ammunition and gave it to the pilot with the words, "Good luck." Then, armed only with his pistol, Master Sergeant Gordon continued to fight until he was fatally wounded. His actions saved the pilot's life. Master Sergeant Gordon's extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty were in keeping with the highest standards of military service and reflect great credit upon him, his unit, and the United States Army. So I just wanted to, having it be 3 October, wanted to make sure that we remember Randy Shugart and Gary Gordon and all the folks, 70-some folks that were wounded, and I believe there were 18 people killed in the Battle of Mogadishu. And so I just want to make sure we remember them and think about them and their families.
Man, what a way to end the show. Go watch Black Hawk Down.
They do a phenomenal job of depicting those two folks. And in fact,
oh my gosh,
one of them is played by, I think it's Randy Shugart, is played by Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who plays Jamie Lannister.
Jamie Lannister
in the Game of Thrones series. Yep.
The best character in that movie is Eric Bana's Hoot, and he has a line in there that you want to talk about relating to something in a movie. Whoo boy, when he's like, go back home and people ask, why do you do it, Hoot? And they don't understand. Or the guy next to you. I mean, like you hear those kind of words and you relate to something like that. It's just powerful. So thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna go cry my eyes out. And boy, they just don't make them like they used to. Holy cow, what a man. What men they were.
Yep.
All of them. So we salute you at the Nerd Rundown. And with that being said, Eric here. We'll see you all next week on the Nerd Rundown.
See ya. Bye.